I'm off to a 6-1 start with my complimentary plays in the NFL. I started the weekend with the Jets on Thursday night. Two more winners yesterday, giving you the Patriots and the Steelers. The lone loser so far this season being the Redskins. But hey, the Redskins are a loser, period, right? And with my best bets, top-rated 15-dime releases, a 2-0 sweep so far this young season. The Eagles in week number 1 over Cleveland, and then cashing in with the Houston Texans yesterday. I have another one of those going tonight on the side between Chicago and Philadelphia. But I've got a complimentary play going on the Bears-Eagles total, and that's coming your way in just a moment. Plus, a quick little rundown, a little review, as I like to say on Mondays, the rear view mirror perspective of what happened around the NFL on Sunday. Listen, guys, as a former reporter for 8 years, I have always based my handicapping on what the perspective I gained as being a reporter. So consequently, what I do Saturday night and the Sunday, I review every single box score that happened in college football. Same thing Sunday and the Monday for the NFL. And then I go ahead and I read all the beat reporters' game stories, because I know from being in the locker room, on the field, around the players, the valuable insights that I gained as a reporter. So consequently, I use the beat writers because they are my eyes and ears. Who knows more about the teams and the players than them? They're there. I know. I was once one of those guys. So every Monday, I kind of like to give you my insights, the little tidbits that I gleaned from reviewing all the Sunday action. Because listen, bottom line, guys, as a gambler, as a handicapper, you cannot be sitting there Saturday night, then suddenly starting to analyze the Sunday card. You got to take a look backwards before you can step forward and looking into next week's games. Quick congratulations going out to a couple of red-hot handicappers here at the site. Props going out to Brad Wilton. Normally, 100-dime play, his best bet, but the past 2 days, he stepped it up. Ultra rare 150-dime releases, and he hit both of them. Ohio State on Saturday, and then he cashed in with Minnesota last night. You got them both for only $49, $60 off the regular price. You might want to check it out tonight. He has another big play going tonight, his 50-dime winner, number 15 out of 21 on the total. And Steve Buden's Cali Cartel remained red hot in football. Tonight, 50-dime winner, number 8 out of 10 the past 3 weeks in football. They're fourth straight in the NFL. Chicago, Philadelphia, your side. You can again get it. It's the half-price play of the day. Yesterday, their winner, 50-dime play on the Steelers. All your discounts, all your coupons, etc. over on the homepage. Let's talk about this total tonight. Listen, the number's sitting right there around 42.5. Guys, I'm not particularly enthralled with this particular play. I love the side. It's another top-rated 15-dime best bet for me as I look to go 3-0 in the NFL with those plays this season after hitting the Eagles in week number 1 and again cashing in with the Texans yesterday. But I do like the under. 42.5, 42 is where it's sitting at. I think tonight that the Eagles defense, which, again, under defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz, the past couple of years when Chip Kelly was there, Billy Davis was their defense coordinator. They had the talent, but they were playing a scheme that was not suited for their talent. They were playing a 3-4 scheme because that's what Chip Kelly was absolutely in love with. Well, Jim Schwartz, who had toiled as the Buffalo Bills defensive coordinator after getting fired as the Lions head coach, he brings that 4-3 philosophy in. And he likes that wide 9 setup, which of course is designed to bring pressure and wreak havoc and constantly try to force turnovers and reach opposing quarterbacks. And it certainly did its job in week number 1 against the Cleveland Browns and Robert Griffin III. Well, Jay Cutler was sacked 5 times by the Houston Texans last week in Houston, right? And that offensive line has had problems over the year providing Cutler with good protection, and Cutler's tendency to turn the ball over. So obviously the Eagles are going to try to pressure Cutler tonight. At the same time, the Browns did not have the talent to get to Carson Wentz, the rookie who was making his first start in the NFL. But the Bears certainly do have the talent to bring the rush. At the same time, I think both teams, it's going to be important for them to establish the ground game tonight. I can see this game being somewhere around 20-17. I can see it be 24-20. I can see, again, a low-scoring game. Now, 24-20 obviously would push it over. But I do believe that this game is instead going to be a low-scoring game. I think points are going to be at a premium in this contest. I think the game is going to be under, because the same way I think it could be somewhere in that 20-17 neighborhood. Listen, guys, it could also be one of those 14-10 games too. So I do think the under is the way to go. But again, of all the free picks, of which I've won 6 out of 7 to start this NFL season, I got to be honest with you. This would probably be the weakest of them all. I'm just being upfront with you. Let's take a quick tour around the NFL, the rear view mirror perspective. Listen, Houston sacked Alex Smith 4 times yesterday, hit him 9 times as well. This after sacking, as I said, Jay Cutler 5 times in week number 1. However, that offense yesterday really struggled when it approached the red zone. They had to settle for 4 field goals yesterday, only 14 first downs, less than 300 total yards. So, although they are 2-0 against the spread so far this season, on a 13-3 run as a favorite, including 2-0 this year, as I said, Brock Osweiler, Lamar Miller, and company, they've really got to get it going offensively. They are still not in sync here as they prepare to hit the road on Thursday night at New England. Bengals couldn't run in week number 1 at the Jets, couldn't run yesterday in the mud and the rain at Pittsburgh. Only 46 yards rushing, 2.6 yards per carry. Oakland defense, or perhaps it would be more accurate to say what defense for the Silver and Black. They have allowed 69 points in 2 games. They have allowed 500 plus yards in both games, at New Orleans and at home against the Falcons. Meanwhile, the Titans, hey, God bless them. They got the cover yesterday in the comeback win at Detroit, but they are still only 9-28-2 against the spread in their last 39 games. They are still only 8-23-2 against the spread in their last 33 as a dog. Next up, how about the game between the Giants yesterday and the New Orleans Saints? Eli Manning, nice performance, 32 for 41, 368 yards. That after a 3-touchdown performance at Dallas in week number 1. First 2-0 start for Big Blue since the 2009 season, and they held the Saints to just 288 total yards. This after Drew Brees had that monster game against the Raiders in week number 1. Meanwhile, the Redskins 0-2. Both at home, those losses. The defense, so pathetic a year ago, has allowed 65 points in 2 games already. Matthew Stafford in that game yesterday against the Lions. I almost felt bad for him. Did you see the back-to-back touchdown throws he had that were both called back on consecutive penalties? Well, hell, could you miss the penalties from the Lions yesterday? They were flagged 17 times for 138 yards in that game. 29 penalties in all in that game between the Titans and the Lions yesterday. Panthers. Listen, Chuck O'Brien had a play on the Panthers yesterday, okay? How he covered that game is beyond me. Panthers turned the damn ball over 4 times yesterday and still covered thanks to Blaine Gabbert with the 2 late interceptions. They had 529 yards in that contest in total yardage. They looked offensively, at least, like the team that averaged 31 points a game last year. How about Minnesota last night? You know, Sam Bradford was the king of the check down in Philadelphia. But that's because, you know, it's hard to go deep when you don't have any wide receivers that have any speed. You saw what happened last night. You have some guys that have some speed, and Bradford has the arm, has the quick release. That's why Chip Kelly loved him, and he can go deep when he has somebody that can get open. But that Vikings offensive line, they got to give him some protection. He was sacked 4 times last night. Then again, the Vikings defense also sacked Aaron Rodgers 5 times, held him to 213 total yards passing in that game. Vikings now 26-9 against the spread under Mike Zimmer. How bad is that Seattle Seahawks offense? 15 points scored in the first 2 games. 15 points scored. They had 10 penalties for 114 yards in that loss to the Rams yesterday. They were 4 for 13 on 3rd down. Jameis Winston, good Jameis Winston, bad Jameis Winston. At Atlanta in week number 1, good Jameis Winston. 4 touchdown passes, 1 interception. Yesterday at Arizona, bad Jameis Winston. 1 touchdown passes, 4 interceptions in that game as Tampa loses 40-7. Buccaneers, 64 points allowed defensively in the first 2 games. Ben Roethlisberger, I mentioned yesterday in the video report when I gave you the free pick on the Steelers. You know, last year this Steelers team averaged a little over 26 points a game, and it could have been much more if Roethlisberger could have avoided all the costly turnovers. He had 21 touchdown passes last year, 16 interceptions. Well, he looked magnificent against that shoddy Washington secondary in week number 1 on Monday night with the 3 touchdown passes. But yesterday, you saw him struggle again. 3 touchdown passes, 2 costly interceptions. The good news, though, once again for the Steelers, D'Angelo Williams over 900 yards last year, 143 in the opener against Washington. Hard-fought 94 yards on 32 carries yesterday against the Bengals. Andrew Luck, another bad game yesterday against Denver. He was sacked 5 times, pick 6, fumble also that was returned for a touchdown as well. How about the Chargers? That offense is really purring. 65 points total in the first two games. Phillip Rivers yesterday, 4 touchdown passes. Melvin Gordon, 24 carries, 102 yards against the defenseless Jaguars. Here's a statistical oddity for you. The Dallas Cowboys are 2-14 straight up in the last 16 games Tony Romo hasn't started. Both of those wins, go figure, at Washington. One started by Matt Castle. One started by Zach Prescott. Again, go figure. The Saints, as I told you earlier, only 288 total yards yesterday in offense at New York. The Falcons' defense has allowed 59 points in 2 games. The Falcons have scored 59 points in 2 games. Any surprise? They're 1-1 straight up so far in the season. Falcons defense, 19 sacks total last year. 1 sack in 2 games so far this year. 3-11 against the spread their last 14 games going back to last season. 2-6 on the road. ATS their last 8 despite yesterday's win against the Raiders. So that's your little rearview mirror expose. Good luck, everybody. I'll talk to you again tomorrow when we do this one more time.